This message comes from Scholastic with the new novel El Niño, an entrancing adventure from beloved and award-winning author of Esperanza Rising, Pam Munoz-Ryan. Jason Reynolds calls it a brilliant amalgamation of myth, nature, sport, and loss. I've never read anything like it. El Niño is available wherever books are sold.
Hello and welcome to Car Talk from National Public Radio with us, Click and Clack, the Tappet Brothers. And we're broadcasting this week from the Center for New Year's Resolutions here at Car Talk Plaza.
It's about time.
Well, I make a lot of resolutions every year, and I never keep them, but I'm keeping this one.
I'm with you on this.
And this involves Starbucks coffee.
Yeah.
For it's bad enough they've invaded the planet. But that's another issue
That's
altogether.
another issue, and we'll talk about that some other time.
Some other time. But I just wanted to say, as good as their coffee is, they have unnecessarily complicated my life and probably everyone else's life too. I'm not even going to deal with the fact that they have a million different kinds of coffee, like decaf, macchiato, americano, skim ice mocha, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget, they copied all of this from little cafes in Italy. Right?
Yeah,
That's
well,
where all this came. You go in there, and what do you get? You either get espresso, you get cappuccino, and that's it.
Well, in the old days, remember the old days when we all went to Dunkin' Donuts?
I do remember that. Yeah.
You asked for a cup of coffee, and someone would say, large or small, regular or non.
Yeah.
Now, regular, cream and sugar.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, large and small, they weren't good enough for Starbucks.
No.
So they come out with short and tall. A little pretentious, but good enough. Now, if it stopped there, that would have been okay with me.
Short and tall is all right.
But no.
Suddenly,
Tall becomes medium. So if you ask for a tall, you get a medium. Well, I didn't want a medium. I wanted tall. Tall is what? Big.
What the hell are they talking about?
Well, so I don't know why.
So is there a New Year's resolution in there, all of this?
Well, yeah.
What?
I mean, I refuse to go in there and use their nomenclature.
I've noticed that. I mean, every time I go in there with you, you have a fight with some poor guy behind the counter. My brother goes in and he says, I want a small cappuccino. And the guy says, you mean grande? No, I don't mean grande. I said small and I mean small. And he dukes it out with the guy. 10 people are behind us yelling and screaming to throw him out of the store.
No, tough. Well, here's my resolution.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping everybody that's listening today will join me in this project.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk into Starbucks from now on, and I'm going to refuse to play their game. I'm going to refuse to use their nomenclature.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk up to the counter and say, give me $2 worth. And when they say, do you want tall, grande, short?
$2.
Well, they got another size, too. Venti. It's bad enough. They got to use a different language.
Yeah. That's large, by the way.
Venti is
very large.
Humongous.
Yeah.
So that's why
that's it. From now on, you go in and you say, I want $2 worth.
$2. Let them figure it out.
And if they have to fill the thing up 3/4 of the way, that's their problem. Don't forget, they have the smartest people in the world working behind that counter.
They do. And every week there's a different,
week
group
there's
of smartest
some
people.
new one.
I don't understand it all.
All right, from now on, it's $2 worth.
That's it.
Okay.
Refuse
to use the words grande, tall, venti, or short. None of those words. When someone says, do I look short in this sweater? You say, no, you look grande.
Hey, don't forget, we have new nomenclature here, too.
Yeah, I know. See, we're doing
I'm
the
reading
same
this
thing
that Dougie gave me. It says the new number is 888 Car Talk, you moron. Oh, no, I got it. It's 888 Car Talk. That's the new number.
Yeah. Yeah, this is hard. I mean, for 100 years, we've been saying some other number, which, of course, we forgot already.
I forgot already. It's been wiped out. But the number is 888-227-8255.
Yeah. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
This is Carla from Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Carla, baby. We were waiting for you to call. Who the hell is Carla? Carla with a C?
Well, you could spell it that way.
But it isn't, huh?
And you would be right.
Oh.
Yippee! That's how I did it.
Congratulations.
Anyway, what's up, Carla?
My car was a 1987 Ford Mustang.
Was?
a pearl of the highway.
Yeah.
And I still have an argument between my two brothers. I do not know which brother not to drive like.
Oh.
I can tell you that I mastered the technique. This was a standard transmission.
I'm going to tell you exactly what you did. Shifting without using the clutch.
Correct.
And one of your brothers tried doing it, and...
No, one of them says, yes, this is a good thing. You will save on the clutch. You will go so much further. You will go so many more miles. You will save so much money. The other said, no, you're killing the transmission. Don't do it, ever.
What's the name of the second brother?
That would be Wayne.
Wayne. And what's the name of the other brother?
Alan.
Alan.
So are you making your judgment by their names, or?
No, he just wants to know which one to call a moron. And then tell you that his name should be Tom.
So you obviously side with Alan because you believe that you are right and that you are indeed prolonging the life of your clutch. And I will agree with that. You are. Mm-hmm. But Wayne is right.
Note that there is never any grinding when this happens.
Well, I had for years, I owned this was a long time ago, an old Pontiac Le Mans.
Oh, great vehicle.
With a standard shift.
3 speeds on the floor.
Which was more than enough because it had a 1,000 horsepower engine. But it also had a very heavy-duty clutch, and I developed this disease called lephtus calphus monstrous. And I couldn't bear to shift this thing anymore. It was driving me crazy. And I, like you, began to shift it without using the clutch. And I was pretty good at it, although there were times that I had to slow down an awful lot to get it into second gear. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I should be in third gear, I was actually in second gear, and I had to fool around with it a lot. And even though I was very good at it, I eventually did my transmission in. You will eventually cook the synchronizers in the transmission.
Even though you say that you never have any grinding, that doesn't mean you do not you are not incurring stress on the synchronizers, because you're pulling it out of a gear and it's grinding against the synchronizer even though it's not making any noise.
Okay.
So if you can feel the slightest amount of resistance when you're moving it into or out of a gear, that's where the wear is coming from.
Okay.
That is not to say that it's impossible to do this without ever feeling resistance either coming out or going into a gear. It is possible. And again, in the interest of science, I think you should do it. I think we would want to know how long can you drive and not wreck the transmission.
Does Alan have a manual shift car?
Well, they both have had.
Have had. Well, but not.
Until the government
But
stopped them, right?
currently. In their days of youth when you need to,
Yeah.
No, and it is kind of neat when you're young to show your friends that you can actually shift without the clutch. And I will admit.
And they all gasp in awe.
There are people
cool.
who think it's impossible. Mm-hmm. But we know better, don't we? And we all learned on somebody else's car.
Right, and if you really don't care what happens to the transmission, you can just slam it from one gear to the next, and it'll almost always go in for a while.
Yeah.
But I would have to recommend against it.
It's hardly worth it because, yes, you are saving the clutch, but potentially at the cost of the tranny. And the tranny is going to end up costing you a lot more to rebuild than whatever saving you have on the clutch.
And the truth is that those shifts from second to third to fourth, those aren't the ones that wear out your clutch.
Yeah,
the ones that wear it out are
part.
starting off from a dead stop, and you can't do that with your technique.
Exactly.
So you don't save diddly by doing this. So you're doing it purely for fun.
All right.
And you're taking a
But
chance.
as long as you know that, that's okay with us.
So if you want to do it, tell Alan, do it on his own car.
All righty. Well, you have saved the family conflict.
Fraternal relationship here.
Great.
Exactly.
See
Thanks
ya.
so much, guys.
See you, Carla.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi. 1-888-CAR-TALK or 1-888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, I'm calling from Bend, Oregon.
Bend.
My name Bend, yeah.
Ben Dorrigan.
No, Oregon.
Is that what you said? Ben Dorrigan.
Yes.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, got it.
My name is Darren Hassel.
Hi, Darren.
Hi. I have a 1994 Coniston Green Land Rover Discovery.
Yeah.
And I'm very much in love with this car. I'm very passionate about it, and I think my wife resents me for that, but that's kind of my issue.
Yeah.
What happens is every time I get in to drive the car after she's driven it, I will turn the ignition on, and immediately the radio will come on blasting. I will get blasted with either hot or cold air, depending on, what time of the year it is. Usually a blinker's on. If it's been raining, the windshield wipers are going. And, I really feel that it's her way of, kind of throwing out resentment issues at me, kind of triangulating with the car against me.
Whoa, we're reading a lot into this, aren't we?
Really
Whoa, boy, here's somebody who just read cover to cover his issue of Psychology Today.
yeah. Anyways, I guess, I can deal with that issue. But my greater issue is this bad for the car? I've always been told that you should shut everything off, all the electrical systems off.
Your father told you that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one of those theories that seems to be okay. I mean, it would make sense that there you are, you pull back into the driveway after a long ride home from somewhere, and the radio's playing. We're going to leave the radio on? No. The windshield wipers are on. Shut them off. Every heater, shut it off.
Right.
Well, there is some little grain of truth.
Yeah. The only one of the ones you mentioned that you really should do is turn off the windshield wipers.
In the event that it should freeze overnight, so your wipers don't freeze to the window.
And it does do that in Bend, Oregon.
Yeah. And then you turn the car in the next morning. You're not aware that the wipers are on because they're what? Not moving because they're what?
Frozen
to the window, and the motor melts.
Okay. So what about the fan?
No.
Okay.
I mean, the theory would be that if you leave all that stuff on, then when you go to start it the next day, you're draining current from the battery to go to all those things when what you really want to do is for all the current to go to the starter. Well, the truth is that all the current does go to the starter no matter what is on. Because as you know, when you are cranking the engine to start it, you don't hear the radio, you don't hear the heater, the windshield wipers aren't moving, because none of that stuff starts happening until you let go of the key and it comes back to the run position. Then all that stuff blasts at you. And that's when you get so angry at your poor wife.
So you don't think that, all the women out in America or men, do that kind of inadvertently?
Just to upset their husband. I mean,
yes.
They probably do.
Well, they call that passive-aggressive.
Yeah.
That's exactly right, yeah.
So, I'm sorry, hon. I didn't realize that the station...
I didn't realize. Yeah. Oh, no, everyone does that to some extent.
Okay.
And whether it's unconscious or not, who knows? I think you have to lay some traps for her.
There we go.
To find out how mean she really is. But in this case, I wouldn't worry about it damaging your car.
Okay, that was the best. That was the most important issue.
Well, I don't think that is the most important issue, but if you want to think that, you go right ahead.
See you, Darren.
See you later.
All right, thank you.
Good luck.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Hey, the Puzzler answer and more calls are coming up right after this.
This message comes from Wise, the app for doing things in other currencies. With Wise, you can send, spend, or receive money across borders, all at a fair exchange rate. No markups or hidden fees. Join millions of customers and visit wise.com. T's and C's apply.
This is Ira Glass, the host of This American Life. So much is changing so rapidly right now with President Trump in office. It feels good to pause for a moment sometimes and look around at what's what. To try and do that, we've been finding these incredible stories about right now that are funny and have feeling, and you get to see people everywhere making sense of this new America that we find ourselves in. This American Life, wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Tanya Mosley, co-host of Fresh Air. At a time of sound bites and short attention spans, our show is all about the deep dive. We do long-form interviews with people behind the best in film, books, TV, music, and journalism. Hear our guests open up about their process and their lives in ways you've never heard before. Listen to the Fresh Air podcast from NPR and WHYY.
These days, there's a lot of news. It can be hard to keep up with what it means for you, your family, and your community. Consider This from NPR as a podcast that helps you make sense of the news. 6 days a week, we bring you a deep dive on a story and provide the context, backstory, and analysis you need to understand our rapidly changing world. Listen to the Consider This podcast from NPR.
Hi, we're back. You're listening to Car Talk with us, Click and Clack, the Tappert Brothers. And as promised, here is the answer to last week's puzzler. But before I do the answer to last week's puzzler, I have to mention this note we got from Richard Belikoff from, of all places, Sierra Madre, California.
No!
You hadn't noticed that little tidbit.
I hadn't noticed
And
that.
a few weeks ago, I had alluded to, I think, perhaps my favorite movie of all time. Surely the most meaningful of the movies I've ever seen, which is The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. And I referred to the most interesting character in the movie, I thought. The guy that
Badges?
The guy that says, badges, we don't need no stinking badges. And I called him Carlos Bedoya, but I was wrong, and I was corrected by Richard, who says, no, he is Alfonso.
Alfonso Bedoya.
Alfonso Bedoya.
He died just recently, you know.
He did.
About 25 years ago.
He was great.
He was great.
Anyway, this puzzler I gave with our school-age listeners in mind.
Yes, I remember.
And, of course, Dougie, too.
Yeah.
Here it is. Simplify the following polynomial. Or, in other words, tell me the product of the following string of terms. Here they are. In parentheses, x plus a, times, in parentheses, x minus b, times, in parentheses, x plus c. You get the trend here?
Yeah. X minus D, X plus E.
Right. Times, the last term is x minus z.
Got it.
And the answer is, if you go back 2 terms, the previous term, the last letters of the alphabet are Z, Y, and X in reversed order.
Yeah.
So it would be X plus Y, and the term before that would be X minus X.
Oh, Sonia, Henny,
Tara Lipinski's tutu. X minus X is 0, rendering the whole expression
zero.
Zero.
See, this is the kind of question that could be on the SAT exam.
Yeah.
And knowing nothing, you would know that the answer is 0.
Because you couldn't
possibly figure out anything else. So if 0 one of the options, you just check it off without even thinking.
Well, I when I first saw this, I had my first guess was 1, the second one was infinity, and the third one was 0.
Yeah, so you got it wrong twice. That's good.
Anyway, who might our winner be, Tommy?
Our winner might be Perry Lewis from Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, and it might not be.
But it might be.
But it might be Perry Lewis from Shrewsbury, Massachusetts. And if it were Perry Lewis from Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, he would get, what? A copy of our new album, Men Are From GM, Women Are From Ford, and Lawyers Are From Chrysler, a collection of calls about couples and their cars. And we guarantee you'll have it in time for the holidays. There's always a holiday.
Absolutely.
And this one that we're shooting for now is Valentine's Day.
Anyway, we'll have a brand new puzzler coming up in the third half of today's show. Well, interesting. Berman convinced us to go to this new format. He said, because if we do 3 halves every week, we only have to do about 28 shows a year. With vacation, accrued vacation time, sick days and all that.
Sick days, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the 3 halves idea.
Oh, yeah. We'll be out of here in no time. Anyway, don't touch that dial. In the meantime, we'll take your calls at our brand new phone number, which is 1-888-CAR-TALK. That's 1-888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hello, this is Sylvia from Little Neck, New York, and I have a 95 Subaru, and we're on good, friendly terms.
With the dealer?
Pardon me?
With the
no,
dealer?
you in the car. You in the car.
In the car. Okay.
Oh, the car and me, the two of us, we're on friendly terms.
Which kind of Subaru is it?
It's a Legacy.
Okay.
But I have a different kind of problem. I asked around, and nobody seems to know, and I thought of you guys. And that is, I find that lately I'm not seeing around those curves at night the way I used to last year. And there are dark spots that are darker than I can find comfortable, you know?
I'm with you.
Okay. No, don't. Stay where you are. And but you know what's so strange? I can read the New York Times in the morning without any eyeglasses. But at night, that's a problem. And I don't want to stay home. All my AARP folks, a lot of them, they stay home quietly, but I don't want to stay home.
I don't blame you.
Okay.
Step out, baby.
So anyway, I have noticed that some of the vans, have those big, bright lights, but then underneath they have another set of lights.
Yes. Even some Subarus have those lights in the bumpers.
Oh, yeah?
Have you noticed that?
No, I don't know what kind they are as I'm driving along.
No, how can you tell? The lights are blinding her.
Oh, yeah,
She
okay,
can't tell.
they are blind. Anyway, so I have two questions for you. Number one, do those lights really help? Do they really extend the luminosity? Will they help me? And number two, can I get them installed?
We can answer all of those questions except one.
Okay.
The answer to all of those questions is yes, 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 except will it help you? And I don't know the answer to that one. I mean, yes, they do increase luminosity. They do all those things. Can you get them installed? Yes, you can. But have you had an eye test lately?
Yes, I have, and I'm okay.
You are?
Yeah, I mean, we can extrapolate from the information she's given us that Sylvia sees perfectly okay in the daytime.
we can't do that. We can't say that because
but as
reading the New York Times has got nothing to do
No, she
with
drives
seeing.
in the daytime.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah, you don't have any trouble. So if we could make nighttime
Like
as
daytime.
bright as daytime,
Yeah.
would you accept the fact that then Sylvia would have no trouble?
I'll accept
Will
that.
you
Your Honor.
stipulate?
I'll stipulate that, Your Honor.
Yeah, these things are called driving lights. I mean, and they come in various forms and shapes and whatever, and they will increase the luminosity.
So,
Assuming that's a word.
okay, well, we just made it up. Why not?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
You can go to your Subaru dealer and ask them if they can install some driving lights for you.
Driving light. Any particular strength you want to recommend, or
You want full strength.
Yeah. Whatever the game laws will allow.
Okay. And I get those put on the bottom or the top, or all four, or what?
Well, they're usually mounted. In your case, they'll probably mount them above or below the bumper, wherever it's appropriate.
Uh-huh.
The best place is above or in the bumper, obviously.
Okay.
But don't stay home, whatever you do,
I
Sylvia.
will not stay
You
home.
sound like too
And
much
you
fun.
You have just lightened the life of any number of AARP types. Okay?
Thanks for your
Great.
call.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your
Bye-bye.
call, Sylvia.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
1-888-CAR TALK or 1-888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, my name is Richard Herman, and I listen to you guys on KUT 90.5 FM in Austin, Texas.
Hi, Richard.
Hey, Austin.
Right, way down here where it's still warm.
Yeah. No, don't start.
Shut up. So what's
Started
up,
rubbing
Richard?
it.
Punk.
Well, I have a 1995 BMW 318. I know you guys love BMWs.
You're not a lifelong Texan.
No, I'm not.
Where did you move from?
St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Right.
And why, pray
Good
tell?
move.
Why?
Good move.
Well, I was married at the time, and my wife wanted to move here.
Yeah.
But she was not a Texan either.
No.
Where was she
not.
from?
She was from West Virginia.
And why did she? West Virginia sounds like a perfectly delightful place.
She wanted to move somewhere warmer. So
Yeah,
and I have
because
to
you
admit,
wanted
it
her
is
to, you
warmer.
wanted her to live in St. Louis, and she had more brains than that.
I'm just
And
curious.
she dumped you, which shows that she really had more brains than you.
So you have this BMW.
And no, and
Right.
you're wrong about the fact that we don't like BMWs. I like BMWs.
It's the drivers.
It's
People
just-
who
okay,
drive
it's the
them.
drivers. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a 318, you
Right,
said.
it's a 1995. I bought it new, and now it has 43,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
And it has a standard transmission. And at about 40,000 miles, I started having trouble with it popping out of first gear.
Oh,
And
Really?
when starting up from a stop, the car would get up to about 5 miles an hour or so, and then it would just jerk out of gear, a real hard jerk. The first time it happened, I thought somebody hit me.
Yeah.
That's how hard the jerk is.
And have you been back to the dealer to ask them to give you a new transmission?
Right. Well, they couldn't figure out what it was, so they
bull
decided-
feathers.
They couldn't figure out what it was.
What, were they all hiding in the bathroom that day? They couldn't figure out what it was.
And did they say, "Gee, we've never run across this before"?
Yeah, they did say that. I took the service advisor out for a test drive, and he did experience the
Yeah.
car doing this.
He said, I wonder what
And,
that is, he said.
They couldn't figure out what was wrong, so they contacted their rep, who didn't even look at the car. He just told the dealership to get me a new gearbox.
Oh, good.
Yeah, excellent.
So my question is, what kind of damage could this be doing to other parts on the car when it jerks out of gear? Like, for example, is it damaging my clutch in some way, or possibly the U-joints or something?
Eh, I wouldn't worry about it.
No, I mean, if you compare this to the way most BMW drivers drive their car, it's
not
probably pretty benign.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you certainly didn't damage the clutch.
No, the clutch is not involved in the loop.
Okay.
I think it's wonderful that BMW is doing the right thing without giving you a bunch of bull. They simply said, we'll get you a new gearbox, and that's it.
Right.
Good for them.
Well, and I am very thrilled that they are not rebuilding your old one, because they always like to have the kind of what they call on-the-job training for their technicians, and the way they provide it is by having them rebuild them. And there's always that sinking feeling when you put the thing in and the customer has driven away, and you find a few parts on the bench, and you say, "Oh,
I wonder what these were for."
Oh, these must have been. Oh, no, I have the other one. These were old." But don't worry about it, Richard.
Okay.
See you, Rich.
Okay.
Good
Thank
luck.
you very much.
Bye-bye.
Good
Bye-bye.
question.
Be sure to stick around for more calls and the new puzzler coming right up.
We've all been there, running around a city looking for a bathroom, but unable to find one.
Hello. Do you have a restroom we could use?
A very simple free market solution is that we could just pay to use a bathroom, but we can't. On the Planet Money podcast, the story of how we once had thousands of pay toilets and why they got banned. From Planet Money on NPR, wherever you get your podcasts.
When Malcolm Gladwell presented NPR's Throughline podcast with a Peabody Award, he praised it for its historical and moral clarity. On Throughline, we take you back in time to the origins of what's in the news, like presidential power, aging, and evangelicalism. Time travel with us every week on the Throughline podcast from NPR.
Shortwave thinks of science as an invisible force, showing up in your everyday life. Powering the food you eat, the medicine you use, the tech in your pocket. Science is approachable because it's already part of your life. Come explore these connections on the Shortwave podcast from NPR.
When the Star Wars prequels came out, they were polarizing. Many fans of the original trilogy hated The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith, though many younger fans loved them then and love them still. So we're rewatching them with fresh eyes 20 years later. From Jar Jar Binks to the climactic "no" that broke the internet in half, listen on NPR's Pop Culture Happy Hour podcast.
Ha! We're back. These donuts are great. You're listening to Car Talk with us. Click and talk for a while.
You're listening to Car Talk with us. Click and collect the Tappet Brothers. And we're here to discuss cars, car repair, and my brother's new puzzler.
Okay, here it is.
Doesn't have to do with donuts.
No, not really.
That is the most obscene donut I have ever.
Only in America.
Only in America, exactly.
No, it's no wonder. I don't mean this in a bad way, because this is from Dunkin' Donuts. They make very good donuts.
Yeah.
But this is why they call us ugly Americans.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll eat that later. This was sent to us by email from John Zumsteg. And I don't know where he's from, because you don't know where anyone's from. Isn't that
that's as it should be.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
He says, based on a true story.
Oh, yeah.
One crisp fall morning, a man brings his Porsche into his mechanic, saying that he couldn't drive it more than 20 miles an hour. At that speed, it developed an horrendous shudder. The mechanic, being busy as usual, drinking his morning coffee,
and eating Dunkin' Donuts,
tells the driver to drive his car into the shop, but he couldn't look at it until later that day. When the driver returned that evening, you can probably guess the next thing.
Yeah.
The mechanic reported that they couldn't repeat the problem. They couldn't reproduce the problem.
Yeah.
And they'd taken it on a test drive, and the car ran perfectly. Ha! The next morning, the driver returns with exactly the same complaint. Again, the mechanic puts it in the garage and spends his morning drinking coffee and overbilling other customers. Again, the driver returns that evening, and here's the same story. We drove it. That
car
thing
was
ran
great. It was
great.
perfect.
What's the matter with you?
Yeah.
And it's a bill for $100. The third morning,
yeah,
the driver returns. Same story. At 20 miles an hour, the car starts to shake itself apart. This time, you ready for this?
Yeah.
The junior assistant deputy fledgling mechanic, Krusty. Young Krusty.
Young Krusty Jr.?
No.
Son of Krusty.
No, this was the original Krusty.
Oh, the original Krusty. This is an old story.
This is an old story, yeah.
Oh.
He hears the story, okay?
Yeah.
And he asks a question.
Yeah.
He says to the guy, "You buy new tires this summer?" The guy says, "Yes, I did."
Wow.
Krusty says, "I know what's wrong with your car."
Wow. Ha! Whoopee!
Now, if you think you know the answer, or you just have nothing whatsoever to do at work, like my brother, what the hell do you do all day?
What do I do all day? I mean, how can a guy spend an entire 8 hours a day?
He comes home from work. I call his house in the night, and Joanne says, "He's not home yet." And I say, "It's like 7 o'clock."
Yeah.
She says, "He's at work."
Yeah.
And I went, I don't know. One of life's little mysteries.
Isn't it? Oh, it is.
Yeah, but you have everyone else fooled.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you have nothing to do at work and you feel like taking a guess, mail your answer to Puzzler Tower, Car Talk Plaza, Box 3500, Harvard Square, Cambridge.
Our fair city.
Ma 02238. Or, of course, you can email us your answer, like Admiral Zumwalt here. Who was this? John Zumsteg.
As he did.
And you can tell us actually where you're from if you'd care to. You can email us from our website, cartalk.msn.com. Just click on the Talk to Car Talk section. And if we choose your correct answer at random, from among all the correct answers, you'll get your own copy of our brand new tape or CD, or whatever that thing is. Men are from GM, women are from Ford, or some other useless gift from the Car Talk Shameless Commerce Division. 1-888-CAR-TALK. That's 1-888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, my name is Rich. I'm from Greenleaf, Wisconsin.
Rich, Greenleaf?
Yes, I'm about 10 minutes south of Green Bay, Wisconsin.
So what's going on, Rick?
Well, I need
Other than the fact that you're freezing your butts off up there.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we
You
are.
are, huh? Yeah.
Hopefully it's temporarily. So.
Yeah, it is temporary.
How cold is it right now?
I believe around in the 10-degree range, and with the wind, probably colder.
Probably.
Yeah, that's generally
Probably minus 10.
Yeah.
maybe minus 10. And are you wearing, or have you ever worn Bronco Nagurski long underwear?
No.
No. Well, you ought to.
No, we usually bear it up here.
You guys are tough. See, tough people
Yeah.
that don't want to live near anyone else.
That's right. And nobody
wants to live near
wants to live near them. So what's up, Rich?
Okay, I need an opinion, and I got a question.
Yeah.
I need the opinion. I've got an 83 Chevy Cavalier. It's a four-door. It's got a
Okay, we know what that opinion's going to be.
Okay.
Sell it. Okay. Next.
I want to cut the roof off the top and make it a convertible.
This is why no one will live near you people.
I don't want to drive it now, but I wanted to ask the question earlier in the year, but I never got the calling, you guys.
And you want to do what again?
He wants to cut off the roof and make it a convertible.
It's a beater car, and I won't do this to any other regular car that I would drive
I got
daily.
you now. Okay.
And the wife doesn't like the idea of me doing this. She says, I'm not even going to get in that thing if you cut that roof off. I said, why? What's the difference? But she doesn't seem to think it's safe.
Oh, she thinks it's going to be less safe.
That, and I also have opinions from other friends stating that if you cut the roof off a vehicle, it can become structurally unstable.
Oh,
Yes.
there's no question
They're
about
right
that.
about that. It is not designed to have the roof cut off.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget. I mean, the roof is like holding the front to the back and the top to the bottom.
I suppose that's mainly because of the unibody. That's what.
Well, no, any car,
Any
even cars. That, yeah, I mean, the fact is that there are different ways that they make convertibles.
Mhm.
They don't just take, well,
Okay.
at least we're led to believe that
We're
they
led
don't
to
just
believe, yeah.
take and cut the top off.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, there is an alternative here. I don't know if you've explored this at all, but you could actually go out and buy a convertible.
Mm-hmm.
You could sell. You couldn't sell. The
He
Cavalier.
lives in Wisconsin,
Yeah.
so that he won't have to do that conventional kind of shopping. He wants to go shopping for a chainsaw.
It's kind of like an
yes.
experiment. I got a big grinder, and it's waiting to eat away.
Yeah, I
at
can
the-
tell you're dying to do it.
I mean, see, the trouble is this, that probably if you cut the roof off, the car is not going to just fall apart. But the problem would be if you had an accident.
Okay, buckle up.
It would buckle up, exactly.
Okay.
And that would be, I would hate to have that on my conscience because you're such a nice guy. On the other hand, as I started to say...
being on the ticket available for Packers games.
You see other convertibles, like there are Cavaliers that are convertibles. So I'm figuring they make them structurally the same, but just put a hard top on.
I don't think so.
We hope they don't.
You might be able to get real worthwhile information from a body shop about this, but I would think that most of them would agree with us that it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you can trade yours in and get a convertible if that's what you really want. But I know you want to use that grinder for something, huh? That's the rub. That grinder.
That is the rub.
You get it for Christmas?
No.
You've had it for a long time.
Yeah, grinding wheels sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah, you know, I have a grinder myself, a big one, that a neighbor gave to me. It weighs about 90 pounds. I'm dying for something to grind. And I haven't figured out anything yet. So you have. Well, I think you could just do it and just look at it.
Yeah, I hear you.
But in the meantime, we will try to find an alternative use for that grinder for you.
Okay.
See you, Rich.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Bye.
See you later.
Well, it's happened again.
Yes.
You've squandered another hour listening. No, hour and a half.
3 halves.
The Car Talk. Our esteemed producer is Doug the Subway Fugitive, not a slave to fashion Berman. Our associate producer and Dean of the College of Automusicology is Ken Babyface Rogers. And we should mention a welcome to Baby Huey.
Baby Huey Rogers.
Yes, Ken and his wife Gina. Well, actually, Gina did most of the heavy lifting.
She did all of it, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't do much.
Nothing.
In fact, hardly anything.
No.
Right. They have a new baby.
I wanted them to name the kid Roy.
They may.
Ken slapped me around and sent me this Christmas card.
Our assistant producer is Catherine Oyster Stew Ray, and our engineer is Jonathan Marston. Our technical, spiritual, and menu advisor is Mr. John S. Lawler. Our public opinion pollster is Paul Murky of Murky Research, assisted by statistician Margin O'Vera. Our director of new product repair is Warren T. Myfoot, assisted by our customer care representative, Haywood Jabuzoff.
Haywood Jabuzoff.
Our broadcast philosopher is Philip Airtime. Our evasive driving instructor is Vera Abruptly. The director of our automotive recycling center, a.k.a. Junkyard, is Ricardo Dismontalban. Our director of moral support is Hugh DeMann, and our Leo Tolstoy biographer, as always, is Warren Peace, author of Leo Tolstoy by Warren Peace. Our chief counsel from the law firm of Dewey, Cheatham & Howe is Hugh Lewis Dewey, known among the slush amidst the slush in Harvard Square as Huey Louie Dewey. Thanks so much for listening. We're Click and Clack, the Tappet Brothers. Don't drive like my brother or my sister.
Don't drive like my sister or my brother.
We'll be back next week. Bye-bye.
And now, with a very important announcement, here is Car Talk Plaza's chief mechanic, Mr. Vinny Gumbaz.
Now, if you want a copy of this week's Car Talk show, which is 1998's show number 2. Yeah, it sounded like number 2. Here's what you got to do, all right?
Are you going to give out the phone number, Vinny, for this now? Is that it?
No, I'm going to reach across the table and turn you into radio show host Barbara, you moron. The number is 1-888-CAR-JUNK. You got that? That's 1-888-CAR-JUNK, which is 227-5865.
And what if someone wanted to buy our album, which is called Men Are From GM, Women Are From Ford, calls about couples and their cars, like for Valentine's Day, would they use the same number as that?
No, you call La Toyota Jackson at the Psycho Network and ask her to beam you one. Of course you call the same number, 888-CAR-JUNK. Or you can get stuff through the online Shameless Commerce division at cartalk.msn.com, you know?
You know, under that gruff exterior, I believe there lies a heart of gold, Vinny.
Oh, heart this, will you? Car Talk is a production of Dewey, Cheatham & Howe and WBUR in Boston.
And even though Charlene Hunter-Gall says, I left the news hour for this, whenever she hears us say it, this is NPR, National Public Radio.
Support for NPR comes from NPR member stations and Eric and Wendy Schmidt through the Schmidt Family Foundation, working together to create a just world where all people have access to renewable energy, clean air and water, and healthy food. The Schmidt Family Foundation is part of the philanthropic organizations and initiatives created and funded by Eric and Wendy Schmidt to work toward a healthy, resilient, secure world for all. On the web at theschmidt.org.
Hey, it's Sarah Gonzalez. The economy has been in the news a lot lately. It's kind of always in the news, and Planet Money is always here to explain it. Each episode, we tell a sometimes quirky, sometimes surprising, always interesting story that helps you better understand the economy. So when you hear something about cryptocurrency or where exactly your taxes go, ya sabes. Listen to the Planet Money podcast from NPR.
Keeping up with the news can feel like a 24-hour job. Luckily, it is our job. Every hour on the NPR News Now podcast, we take the latest, most important stories happening, and we package them into 5-minute episodes so you can easily squeeze them in between meetings and on your way to that thing. Listen to the NPR News Now podcast. Now.